Yesterday's outbreak of severe weather in the central and southern plains occurred on the 25-year anniversary of one of the worst tornado outbreaks of the 1990s in pretty much the same part of the country. Two of the tornadoes on April 26, 1991 were particularly memorable, in large part because of the video of those twisters. Now, the weather setup that day 25 years ago was classic for tornadic thunderstorms. At mid and upper levels, a big dip or trough in the jet stream was over the Rockies. East of that, over the plains, high-altitude winds showed a difluent pattern, or spreading out of the winds aloft, which favors rising air below. At the surface, a deepening low with typical warm and cold fronts helped drag warm, moist air out of the Gulf of Mexico, while a pocket of strong winds in the jet stream, called a jet streak, rounded the base of that trough and overspread the ingredients already in place on the plains. The result was 55 tornadoes, shown here as red dots or lines, where the lines indicate longer track and typically stronger twisters. 21 of them in Kansas, including the most destructive of the day. Satellite imagery wasn't as high resolution then as now, but still clearly showed tall supercell thunderstorms exploding high into the sky over Kansas and Oklahoma. The only National Weather Service Doppler radar at that time was in central Oklahoma. It produced these images, while the radar in Wichita, Kansas was still the old-style black and white. Now to those infamous videos. In 1991, camcorders were fairly popular, and many people captured the only F5 tornado that day, still considered one of the most filmed F5s on record, in part because it moved through highly populated McConnell Air Force Base, just east of Wichita. The worst damage, however, was in Andover, Kansas, where the 600-yard wide tornado tore through a mobile home park and densely populated residential areas. Now known as the Andover tornado, it traveled about 45 miles in a little more than an hour and killed 17 people. Perhaps even more viral was the other tornado video that day. A TV news crew on the Kansas Turnpike was filming a different tornado, which they thought was going to overtake them. They stopped beneath an overpass and, with several others, took shelter in the nook in the upper part of the overpass. The videographer recorded the whole event as the tornado passed nearby. And everyone was pretty much unscathed, largely because the tornado was relatively weak and didn't directly hit them. Still, this video popularized the notion that this was safe shelter from a tornado, though it's actually quite dangerous, in part because a wind tunneling effect can produce higher winds and more debris in that tight and narrow space. In fact, a powerful tornado on May 3rd, 1999 in Oklahoma hit 3 overpasses and killed people at each one. Even today, the myth of the safe overpass has been tough to root out. Yesterday's severe storms were mainly hail and damaging wind producers. Only 5 tornadoes, none of them serious, were reported. The extended forecast is next.